The house isn't the problem. The process is. Most Houston first-time buyers don't get hurt because they picked a bad house online. The expensive part usually starts earlier, when they misunderstand the market before they ever make an offer. Houston can look affordable when you're scrolling through listings, especially if you're comparing it to other more expensive cities. That same home can feel very different once the taxes, insurance, flood history, repairs, HOA fees, and total monthly payment come into focus. A buyer might fall in love with the kitchen first, then find out later the tax rate changes the payment. Someone else may think the house is safe because it isn't in a flood zone, only to learn that Houston flood risk doesn't work that simply. Another person might trust the online estimate, skip over the inspection concerns, or stretch for the upgrades that leave no breathing room after closing. These mistakes don't always look reckless while they're happening. A lot of them feel completely reasonable in the moment. And that's why smarter buyers keep falling into these same traps. Nobody explained how Houston real estate actually works before emotions got involved. So in this video, I'm walking through the biggest first-time buyer mistakes I see in Houston and Cypress, why they cost people real money, and how you can avoid learning these lessons the expensive way. Because if you start blind, clarity usually comes with a price. Before we get into it, I'm Thomas Priddy. I'm a lifelong Houstonian and Cypress resident, and I help buyers, sellers, and relocators make smarter real estate decisions in Greater Houston and Cypress. If you're thinking about buying here, moving here, or just trying to figure out what's real versus what only looks good online, all you gotta do is text me. My information is in the description. People reach out to me every week with questions about neighborhoods, pricing, taxes, flood risks, and whether a move actually makes sense for them. No pressure at all. I'm just a text away, and we can have a real conversation about where you are, what you're looking at, and what makes the most sense for you. Because most first-time buyers in Houston aren't being reckless. They're trying to make the smartest decision they can with the information in front of them. The problem is that online listings, payment calculators, market updates, and advice from people outside of the transaction can make someone feel prepared while still leaving out the details that actually change the deal. And that gap can get expensive. Some buyers don't realize the tax bill is higher than expected until the payment no longer feels comfortable. Others get surprised by insurance costs, foundation concerns, drainage problems, or repair issues that weren't obvious during the showing. A home can photograph beautifully and still carry risks underneath the surface. I've seen very smart people make these mistakes. They weren't careless. They simply got too far into the process before someone slowed them down and showed them what to check. First-time buyers have a lot of noise coming at them right now. One person says buy before prices go higher. Another person says wait for rates to drop. And a market video claims everything is crashing. Meanwhile, you're just trying to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life without getting burned. And the point of this video isn't to scare you away from buying. My goal is to help you understand where the risk actually shows up, so you can move forward with more confidence and fewer surprises. Because the buyers who feel best long-term are rarely the ones who rushed into the prettiest house. They're the ones who understood the numbers, the location, and the hidden risks before they sign. Timing the market sounds responsible until it turns into doing nothing for years. I see this a lot with first-time buyers in Houston. Rates feel high, so they wait. Prices don't look low enough, what makes them hesitate. Inventory improves, and suddenly they wonder if even better deals are coming. That kind of thing can feel logical, but it often keeps buyers stuck in a market that keeps moving without them. The perfect market almost never shows up exactly when you want it. Even when one condition improves, another piece can become harder. A lower interest rate may bring more competition. Better inventory might not be available in the neighborhood you actually want. Waiting for prices to drop can backfire if the right home becomes more expensive later or disappears completely. Now, waiting isn't always wrong. If your savings aren't where they need to be, your income feels unstable, or the monthly payment would stretch you too thin, patience is the smart move. Nobody should buy a home because they feel pressured by a headline, a lender, a friend, or a real estate agent. That isn't strategy. That's panic. The issue is different when someone is financially ready but keeps delaying because they're trying to perfectly predict rates, prices, inventory, and competition at the same time. That's an extremely hard game to win. A better question isn't what will the market do next year? The question should be, can I own comfortably with the numbers in front of me right now? And that shift matters. You can't control the entire Houston market. You can control your budget, your preparation, your negotiation strategy, and the kind of home you're willing to buy. Long-term stability matters more than the perfect timing. The purchase price gets most of the attention. But in Houston, it's only part of the story. Property taxes and insurance can completely change how affordable a home actually feels. And this surprises a lot of first-time buyers, especially people moving here from other states. They look at the listing price and assume the monthly payment will line up with what they saw online. Then the real numbers come in, and the home isn't as comfortable as it looked. I've seen two houses priced almost the same create very different monthly payments. And the difference often comes from taxes, insurance, HOA dues, flood insurance, or mud district costs. And that matters because a buyer doesn't live inside the list price. You live with the payment. In some parts of Houston and Cypress, especially in newer master planned areas, can have additional costs that stack up on top of the base tax rate. Insurance has also become a bigger part of the conversation across Texas. When those pieces are underestimated, a buyer can walk into the process thinking they're comfortable, then realize the payment is tighter than expected. This is where online estimates can be dangerous. They may give you a starting point, but they don't always show the full ownership cost clearly enough. A home that appears affordable on the screen may require a much closer look before it actually fits your budget. That's why I tell buyers not to fall in love with the list price. In Houston, affordability means understanding the total monthly cost. The mortgage is only one piece. Taxes, insurance, HOA dues, mud cost, maintenance, and flood-related expenses can all affect the decision. A smart buyer looks at the full payment before getting emotionally attached. Houston buyers need to take flood risk seriously. A lot of first-time buyers assume a home is safe because it's not inside a flood zone. That assumption can be expensive here. Houston has flooding concerns for both inside and outside of the official flood zones, and every property deserves more attention than a quick map check. A house can look perfect during a showing. The streets may feel quiet. The neighborhood might seem well kept, and none of that tells you the full flood history. Once buyers become emotionally attached, they often start to minimize concerns they would have questioned earlier. That's when logic gets weaker. Flood risks affect more than storm anxiety. It can influence insurance costs, buyer demand, resale value, long-term affordability, and how comfortable you feel owning the home. Even if a property has never flooded, the surrounding drainage, elevation, nearby development, and street history can still matter. When a house seems underpriced compared to the rest of the neighborhood, flood history is one of the first things that I want to check. Sometimes there's a simple explanation. Other times, the price is trying to tell you something. This doesn't mean every buyer should avoid every property with flood considerations. Houston is too complex for that kind of blanket answer. The point is to understand the risk before emotion takes over. A home can still be the right fit, but you should know what you're accepting before you buy it. First-time buyers often feel pressure to make the first house solve every possible future need. That pressure gets worse when every listing online looks staged, polished, and perfect. A designer kitchen can pull attention away from the payment. Beautiful finishes make it easy to ignore how much cash will be left after closing. An extra space may sound practical even when it pushes the budget past a comfortable place. This is how buyers end up purchasing at the absolute edge of what they can handle. The home looks better, but the financial breathing room disappears. And that trade-off can become stressful fast. Ownership always comes with surprises. Repairs happen. Insurance costs can change. Life rarely stays predictable. But a buyer who leaves room in their budget usually has more peace after closing than the buyer who stretched for every upgrade on day one. Quartz countertops are nice. Financial flexibility matters more. The first home doesn't have to be your forever home. It needs to fit your life now, support your budget, and give you enough stability to handle the normal surprises that come with ownership. There's nothing wrong with wanting a beautiful home. The problem starts when appearance becomes more important than comfort, safety, and a long-term financial health. A smart first purchase gives you room to live. And if any of this is hitting close to home, text me. My information is in the description and we can talk through where you are, what you're considering, and what actually makes sense for your situation. There's no obligation. It's just a real conversation before you make a decision that deserves more than guesswork. This one worries me because the damage can be immediate. Some buyers still believe they need to waive inspections to win a house. That idea came from highly competitive market conditions, and unfortunately, it has stayed in people's heads longer than it should. Houston isn't a market where first-time buyers should casually skip due diligence. We have foundation movement. Flood concerns need attention. Older plumbing and HVAC systems can create real costs. Drainage problems may not be obvious during a showing. Cheap flips can look clean while hiding poor workmanship behind fresh paint. And a house can look great online and still has significant issues. The inspection gives buyers objective information before the problem becomes theirs. That doesn't mean every inspection finding should kill the deal. Most homes will have something. The real value is understanding what's normal, what's negotiable, and what should make you pause. Because rushing through that next step can cost far more than losing a house. When a buyer is afraid of missing out, it becomes easier to ignore red flags. And that fear is exactly why the process needs structure. A good agent should help you slow down when emotion starts moving faster than the facts. Because once you close, the house is yours. That includes the problems you knew about, the ones you ignored, and the ones you never took time to investigate. Online tools can help buyers get started. They're not a substitute for real market context. Sites like Zillow and other estimate platforms use algorithms. Those systems don't walk through the property. They can't feel the layout, notice the condition, evaluate the street, understand the flood history, or compare buyer demand the way people actually experience the home. Houston makes this even more complicated. Values can shift dramatically from one street to the next because of flooding, property condition, traffic patterns, lot quality, school zoning, updates, or neighborhood feel. An online estimate may look precise, but that doesn't mean it's accurate. I've seen buyers pass on good opportunities because an estimate made them nervous. And the opposite happens too. Someone trusts a number online, then overpays because the algorithm didn't understand what buyers in that specific pocket actually value. Real estate is more nuanced than a computer-generated price. Use online tools as a starting point. Don't let them make the decision for you. The better move is to compare the property against real recent sales, current competition, condition, location, and buyer demand. That context matters more than a number on a screen. All of these mistakes come from the same place. Buyers get emotional before they're fully informed. That's when the process becomes risky. A beautiful house can make a tax issue feel smaller than it is. A strong first impression may cause someone to overlook flood history. Fear of losing the home can push a buyer to rush inspections. Online estimates can create false confidence when the real market tells a different story. The goal isn't to remove emotion completely. Buying a home should feel exciting. You're choosing where your life is going to happen. That said, emotion needs the information around it. A good agent's job isn't just sending listings or opening doors. The real job is helping you see the parts of the decision that are easy to miss when you already love the house. And that protection matters, especially for first-time buyers. The wrong decision can create stress for years. A smart purchase gives you confidence after closing, not just excitement before it. If you're thinking about buying in Houston or Cypress, or you're relocating here and trying to figure out where to start, I would be happy to help. Text me through the information in the description and we can set up a free consultation. No pressure, no sales pitch, just a real conversation about what makes sense for you. If this helped, subscribe for more Houston and Cypress real estate content. I cover neighborhoods, pricing trends, buyer mistakes, relocation decisions, and the things people need to know before making a move here. The goal isn't just buying a house. It's buying one without creating expensive regrets later. I'll see you in the next video.